Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about something called analysis paralysis, productive procrastination, whatever you want to call it. And it's basically being stuck in a loop constantly of you find something that's productive in a way, it's going to benefit you, but you're doing it to avoid the main task at hand. So let's say you need to do a certain amount of outreach messages. And instead of doing that, you do tons and tons of research and you keep doing research on the best way to do outreach, how to do it, the most effective methods, the right way to structure your email or message, how to get the best attention, click-through rates, everything and all of this, but you never actually get round to sending out your outreach. You never actually get around to sending out those emails, doing those cold calls. You never get round to it because you're stuck in this loop of trying to find more information on it, but you're not actually taking action. See, this is something that's very important that you need to learn, because having the ability and having the wants, the kind of feeling that you need to learn more, that's amazing. It's great that you want to constantly learn more about this craft, this idea, whatever it is you're going into. But you've got to balance that with taking action, with completing the task. Like, I could do as much research in the gym, into working out, into diet and everything. I could do as much research as I wanted, but if I don't actually go and work out, if I don't actually get my sleep dialed in or my diet, then I'm not going to make the progress. Nothing's going to change. So you've got to remember that doing enough research to have a good understanding of it is probably the best way to go about it. Understand what you're getting yourself into, then start taking action on it, then start kind of implementing it and doing the things that you've read up on, that you've done research on, and then you can kind of split it 50-50 to taking action and research. Okay, so I'm doing this much action and then I'm doing this much research on new ways of doing it, more effective ways of doing it, and etc. etc. So you could start with doing your outreach, and maybe you're learning more about business, you're trying to kind of expand your business, whatever it may be. So then you could find a couple books on it, start spending an hour a day reading that one book that you like, or that book that's related to the subject. And then you could maybe listen to a podcast on your way to the gym about this topic, or you could watch a movie based on it, or you could watch a YouTube video based on it. So there's so much information out there, but the trick is that you can't get caught up in the web, really, because it is just a big net. It's a web that's going to catch you. It's a spider's web, and you're going to get stuck there. You're going to keep finding that next YouTube video, keep finding that next podcast, keep finding that next book that you feel like you need to read, or that next course that you need to go through. And that's where the problem is, because you keep getting stuck in this loop of finding more information. You keep thinking that you need to learn more and look at more information, whereas that's not the case. What you need to do is get a brief understanding of it and then start taking action, because that's going to provide you with the most value. Find someone that can teach you, and then maybe sit down with them, maybe do it with someone else that you're both getting started with, and you both start doing this thing. You both start taking action. Let's say it's cold calling. You take action. You both start cold calling. You're both going through a course as well. You're both doing a bit of learning. So the main thing you should be focused on is the actual cold calling itself. And then through time, you find out, okay, this line here doesn't work. No one really kind of interacts with it. Whereas this one, it gets people to interact with it a bit more when I say this. This one gets them more interested. This question gets them to tell me more. This does this, this does this. You kind of figure out what works and what doesn't through trial and error. So what you need to do is, over time, through trial and error, through actually completing the task, you figure out what works, you adapt your script, and then over time you learn more and more, and you can take what you've learned through course and stuff, you can implement that as well. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So you've got to kind of keep trying these things from the courses that you find, from all the information, from all the YouTube videos, the podcasts, the books. You've got to keep trying all the things that you've learned to figure out if they actually work for you. And what you've got to remember is, no matter how much you research you do, how much you look up into one subject, you may not always kind of make that progress, because you can get stuck in the web and then you just don't end up taking action. And that's where the problems start coming in, because you keep finding more and more information. So you've got to just keep learning, yes, but try and prioritize taking action over learning. Try and prioritize not getting stuck in the loop of finding more information. Maybe select a podcast, a couple YouTube videos, and a certain course or a bit of a book that you're going to read this week. So all of that information, you're going to do that this week. And then once you do a certain amount of it every day, and then once you've done that, then you go on to taking action upon what you've learned. So let's say every day I listen to 10 minutes of a podcast, I watch a YouTube video, and I read a few chapters of a book. Then I'll write down what I've learned and I'll implement it into my cold calling or my sales or whatever it is you're doing. So you're balancing this aspect of learning and taking action, because that's the most important thing. You're not getting stuck in the loop of having to keep going and keep trying to find more information, because you're taking action, but you're also utilizing the information that you have by just kind of by finding the things that are related to what you are doing, but then saying, okay, I'm only going to do this week, but if I complete them all at Wednesday, then I can go and find more. But if not, then I'm just going to stick with these ones for this week, and then next week I'll find some new ones. So you don't keep finding new things to look at. You just focus on the things you're already watching, the things you're already reading, and the things you're already listening to. And that's what's going to kind of keep you dialed in and keep you focused on what you're doing. So if you realise that you don't allow yourself to go and look for more after you've got these 4 things that you've got to do. So you've got this podcast, you've got the YouTube videos, and you've got the book you need to read. You do that in a week. You're not allowed to find another book, you're not allowed to find another YouTube video, you're not allowed to find another podcast until you've already completed the one that you've selected. That's what's important. So you watch up and you finish off those, and then you're like, okay, now I need to go and take some action. Now I need to go and implement what I've learned. That's the important thing. So that's analysis paralysis, when you get stuck in the web. And then productive procrastination, big bit of a tongue twister as well, is you avoiding a certain task because you find something else that is productive, but it's not what you set out to do. So it could be, before I go to the gym, it could be me getting lost in, what program should I use? What diet should I be doing? What should I be training for hypertrophy or strength? Should I be doing CrossFit or bodybuild? And you figure out all of these, come across all of these different bits of information, and you get stuck in it because you're trying to figure out what you want to do, when you should basically just kind of start. Just start. That's the most important thing. Just get in the gym, do your first workout. Maybe it's full body, maybe it's single body, maybe you don't enjoy it, but then you can pick and change, do something that you like more. Maybe you don't like CrossFit style workouts, so you do bodybuilding style instead. So you find something that you enjoy and you find something that works, but you don't want to get caught up again. You don't want to get caught up in the massive, vast sea of information that there is out there, of all the different types of training programs, all the different diets, all the different training, everything. There's so much that can come into play. So just get into the gym, start training, and then you can say, okay, I've been training for 6-8 weeks now. I've made this amount of progress. I'm not as strong as I want to be. Okay, so how do I start getting stronger? Let's look at strength training. Okay, different rep ranges, different intensities. Okay, this looks good here. Progressive overload. You start learning more and more about it. but you only should be looking at that once you've actually started, once you've actually started to take action and implement what you first found out. So that's productive procrastination, is when you kind of avoid the main task at hand. You avoid going to the gym because you're too busy looking at what program you should be doing. And that's where the difficulty comes in. Focus more on doing rather than how you should be doing it. Focus more on taking action, and taking action quickly, instead of researching the best way to take action. Because speed is the most important thing. If I was just about to start working out, if I was starting fresh, hadn't worked out ever before, the first thing I do is get in the gym, figure out what movements I enjoy, what movements work, what muscles, and then I could set myself out a program. So the first thing I do is go to the gym, I'd talk to some people there, I'd start training. I'd get back from the gym, I'd be like, okay, I like this movement here. Okay, that can be my push session. So I'll do a bit of research, different workout splits. You've got push, pull legs. Let's do that. So push, that's bench press. Okay, I'll do that to my next session. And then you start looking at forms on different exercises. So I'd research them on YouTube while I'm doing them. I'd be like, okay, so this is how you're meant to do it. I'd go to the gym and then I'd do it. I'd figure out, okay, does this feel comfortable? Is this the best way for me to be as powerful as I can? Yes or no? And then you learn from that. So it's all about finding what works for you, but first of all, you've got to figure out if it actually works for you. So you've got to find a method that you like the look of, find a training method, find a business idea that you like the look of, a business model, and then try it, see if it works. And if you don't like it, if it's not bringing you the results you want, just figure out, are you doing something wrong first of all? Are you doing it the way it's meant to be done? Or is it just not working for you? Sorted. So just remember to capitalize on the information you can learn. Learn as much as you can, but don't let your learning get in the way of you taking action, of you actually taking the steps toward doing it better. That's the most important thing. Thank you for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.